Why is there no tube station in Sutton? Well, the same reason there's no tube station in a lot of places. They never built one. But they might have. Actually, had history gone a little differently, Sutton might have had quite a substantial presence on the underground network. It all started with the kind of skullduggery that really characterises the development of railways in South London. South London has a very dense network of commuter railways, basically because of railway companies fighting over turf. Sutton was served by the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway on a line to Portsmouth. The station had opened in 1847 when the town had a little over 1,000 residents. By the start of the 20th century, it had over 20,000. Local landowners wanted to break the LBSC's monopoly as well as drive up the value of their property, so they proposed a railway of their own from Wimbledon, to be called, unsurprisingly, the Wimbledon and Sutton Railway. They approached the London and South Western Railway, who owned Wimbledon Station, for assistance. The LSWR were not keen, which is ironic because they'd proposed their own branch to Sutton several times. So the Wimbledon and Sutton boys went for the next best thing. Another company who ran trains into Wimbledon was the District Railway, which is now, of course, the Underground District Line. The Wimbledon and Sutton was the kind of arrangement the district liked. The new line would feed traffic onto their route into central London, but it would cost them less than outright building their own branch. They didn't commit to anything at this stage, but they also didn't say no. The line would have gone thus. It was to connect directly with the platforms at Wimbledon, where the district trains came in and where the underground concourse is now. I should point out here that while the district ran trains into Wimbledon, the line they ran over from East Putney was actually owned by the LSWR. A very short distance along the line, here in fact, there would have been a station to serve the tennis club, which at the time was based here and not at Southfields as it is now. I don't know whether that would have operated constantly or only during tournaments, but it seems weird to put a station literally about 5 minutes' walk from Wimbledon Station. Then it would have left the main line. The next station would have been Cannon Hill, then Green Lane, Morden, Elm Farm, Sutton Common, Collingwood Road, Cheam, and finally Sutton, where it would have connected with the LBSC line. The bill was put to Parliament in 1911. The district expressed a conditional interest in helping to build the line based on a guarantee of £6,000 revenue a year. The LSWR were also approached by the district and didn't reply. Meanwhile, the LBSC were extremely unhappy about all of this. They argued that Sutton didn't need another line, there wasn't the traffic to justify it. They even accused the district railway of only getting involved so they could start running trains to Brighton. That's actually not quite as mad as it sounds. The district had started running trains all the way to Southend in 1910. Imagine that, being able to get a tube train from Southend to Brighton. Parliament passed the bill, but in deference to the LBSC, they refused the junction at Sutton. Instead, the new line was to have what we would now call an out-of-station interchange. The district replaced the landowners on the board of directors with their own chaps and bought all the issued shares in the line. From now on, it was, to all intents and purposes, a district railway project. And work began. Land was purchased. The line between Wimbledon and East Putney was upgraded to allow for the extra traffic. The First World War slowed things down, but come the 1920s, a new opportunity presented itself. The Trade Facilities Acts enabled companies to borrow large sums of money off the government, with capital and interest guaranteed, for public works. The idea was that this would alleviate unemployment and stimulate the economy. The Underground Group, who owned the District Railway, among other interests, leapt on the opportunity. They applied for a loan to get the Sutton branch built, but also for an interesting addition. You see, the Underground Group also owned the City and South London Railway, now part of the Northern Line. They wanted to upgrade and extend the CSLR. It would connect with another of their lines, the Charing Cross, Euston and Hampstead Railway, at Camden Town. But it was what they had planned for the southern end that's interesting here. They wanted to run a line under Clapham Common, through Balham, Tooting and Morden, where it would join the District Line and run to Sutton. The Underground Group posted the bill to Parliament in 1922. In 1923, a new player entered the game, the Southern Railway, who had taken over the LBSC, the LSWR, and in fact all the major non-underground railway companies in the south of England. The Southern had plans to electrify their commuter lines and saw the underground scheme as a direct threat. In the face of this opposition, Parliament threw the bill to extend the City and South London Railway out. That caused uproar in South London, where the residents had been rather looking forward to a new tube line. So the companies negotiated. A radical decision was reached. The Sutton line would now be built and owned by the Southern Railway. The district would be allowed to run trains over it. The City and South London could extend to Morden, but have no connection to the Sutton line. Instead, there would be a Morden South on the Southern Railway's line and a Morden North on the CSLR. The CSLR extension opened in 1926, but rather than Morden North, the station they opened was just called Morden. As for the Sutton line, it was slow to build. It was an undulating, sharply curved and often steep route that railway employees referred to as the Wall of Death. The junction at Wimbledon was moved to the south side of the station, so the new branch wouldn't have to cross the main line. Sutton and Wimbledon stations were rebuilt, and of course now there was no opposition to a connection at Sutton, so they put one in. The line opened in 1930 and still runs to this day. The Underground never took the Southern up on the offer to allow district trains over the Sutton line, and it's not clear how practical that would even be with the junction on the other side of Wimbledon Station. I suspect this was just a diplomatic concession by the Southern to allow the district to claim some sort of victory. The extension to Morden opened in 1926. The Underground Group also owned the London General Omnibus Company, and, being dirty, rotten scoundrels, immediately began running bus services to the places to be served by the Sutton branch. As a result, the new line wasn't the success the Southern had hoped. It does a lot better these days, as part of the Thameslink route. Still, I can't help but wonder how South London might look today if things had gone according to the Underground Group's plan. Well, I hope you enjoyed this contentious tale from the tube. If you did, please do leave a like and consider subscribing for more. I'd like, as ever, to thank my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon and here on YouTube for your generous support. You are the Northern Line to my District Line. And I'll see you all again very soon for another tale from the tube.